Thank you very much for joining, everybody. My name is Donovan from Salt of the Streets.
I'm Colin.
We are happy to have you. This is part 2 of episode 142. Of course, you can find everything that we have here, our YouTube, our Instagram, and our Patreon, all at Salt of the Streets. You can find all of this at saltofthestreets.com, including our own personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram.
Alpaca.
Colin, Jesus Christ. Colin is a Big Bird Offie on both of those things. Our sponsor for this segment is going to be Swell Blended, the Barber King. Fantastic. Helping me maintain the main. We're out
That's
here. What's going on? So,
Came courtesy with a lot of the topics for today.
yeah, absolutely. Came strong with a lot of these. So, part 2, talking about some national stories. Let's go with...
Bum, bum, bum.
Let's go with the Adderall shortage first. Let's talk about this first.
Fantastic.
Right?
Just so happened to be the first one I had pulled up,
Just
too.
so happens to be. It's almost like we planned this together.
Almost.
Okay, so the national shortage. And I have known actually multiple people who have talked to me about this. My realtor being one of them. When I was buying my house, she was talking to me about how she was having a hard time.
Getting Adderall?
Yes. But she does because she's been like, not because she's like, I can't find it on the streets.
No.
It's like I can't get my prescription filled.
Yes.
she wasn't able to get a prescription.
There was no implication there whatsoever. Not saying
I
that.
think she's selling these houses, bro. No.
She is realtor.
Yeah, no. It's just she couldn't get her prescription filled. But I've heard many people talk about this, and so what we found out is essentially there was like what they're saying is there was an immense uptick in the amount of prescriptions written pretty much during COVID, right? Like over the pandemic. Why do you?
This is why your realtor is on Adderall.
And I thought, she said she'd been on it for a while. I think that a lot of them were people who work from home, who are at their houses and not at their offices, so they're not as productive. And then also people, because children went up quite a bit too. I don't have the statistic right in front of me, but children went up quite a bit as well. And I imagine it's also people who had to spend more time with their children and didn't realize what little fucks they had raised and how terrible they are at school because they don't have to fucking see them for 8 hours a day. So I think that's probably a good portion of it.
I would certainly imagine. I mean, when you look at the way our day-to-day lives had changed so drastically over the last few years, everybody being at home. If you weren't at home because your job said you had to be at home, you essentially had to be home because your kid had to be home. Sorry, buddy. By the way, this is called the Groundhog Day.
I snorted some of the foam.
That's good. I do that all the time on the beer show. Groundhog Day Pale Ale. Enjoy
good.
that one. It's really good. We tasted it yesterday. But yeah, the way the entirety of society has changed to have everybody at home, have them less active, less busy at that point. A lot of people probably had to get some Adderall to be able to focus on what it was that they needed to do, or get their kids to focus on their schoolwork, or just not being a bunch of little fucks running around the house tearing shit apart like they normally would. Now, I don't think this is a healthy situation. No. That just, as per the usual, our way to fix this societal ill was to just have more doctors prescribing more Adderall to lots of people. I think it was the 15% uptick.
Yeah, I do tend to believe that it's overprescribed.
100%.
In general and specifically with Adderall, I tend to believe that we take too many pills as a country. Also, Adderall specifically, there is just a fuckload of people who, I think, now fucking sound like an old man. There's a ton of people who don't know how to work. Like, just do work. Just stop fucking around and just do work.
Just fucking work.
And make yourself be accountable. And that's why they didn't like the push from their bosses asking them to come back and work, because if you're in the office, you will be held accountable, even if it's just by somebody who is a higher position than you in the office. That person can see you. They can see whether or not you're being productive. That's why you start seeing I'm not justifying this because it's whatever, but
grumpy old man over here.
The keystroke trackers and like all of that type of stuff, you know. So many people in high school sold that shit. Adderall, oh, absolutely,
bro.
When I
shout out Trenton in the chat.
Shout out TP. When I first had my job at the Kids Aren't Taught How to Deal with Boredom, 1,000%, 1,000%. People on their phones, just like any moment. If you're in traffic, I catch myself in traffic. I'm at a stoplight, just on my phone. Well, I'm here for 30 seconds. Why? Yeah, it's not good. It's not, and that's part of the reason I'm such a dick to people about reading now. So you should read. You should read. You should read, because when you start doing that, that's where you start occupying your time with more, and you lean less on your phone.
And don't read on your phone.
No, read a book. Read an actual book. People are like, oh, audiobooks. No. Read a physical book. Get a physical book made with paper and read it. And
it's not just the stories. It's not what you're pulling out of that. That's what audiobooks are good for, right? Pulling information from something while you're doing something else. Yes. But read a book. And I'm not nearly as disciplined as you, but I have increased my reading game tenfold from what it used to be. And like with a legitimate book.
Shout out book club, since we're talking about it. February, Discrimination and Disparity, Thomas Sowell. We're working on it. We're doing
the
last 2 days I haven't really been. Yeah, it's rough. I know we're in it. I know it's a great book. Not that the book isn't good. It's going to be a rough preview. Probably going to be a short review, because it's a good book. It's good information. It's very dense and it's pretty dry. So I'm going to add as much flavor to it as I can, but it's. I'm excited to move on to 1984. It's good. March is going to be good. So we got a ton of really good books coming up. It's going to be a great time.
There you go. So to the act of reading, right? The act of actually reading an actual book. It forces you to slow your mind down, to focus on something, because you have to focus on the words on the page. You have to focus on how you're holding your book. It's not just, it sounds really stupid to say this, right? But like, there's positions you get in when you're reading a book that like you'll find out after like the first 10 minutes of being in this position, this is really uncomfortable. I don't like holding up. My fucking arm is falling asleep now because of the way I'm having this thing. It's like cutting out circuit something. So you find out all these different things about what it means to like slow down, slow your body down while your mind can be racing, absorbing the story, doing whatever it's doing while you're reading this book. You're finding out so many other things about you while this is happening. But on top of that, to the inverse of that, right? Part of the societal problem here with not just being on your phone, it's also what you're doing while you're on the phone.
Yes.
It's the fucking YouTube shorts. It's the Instagram Reels, the fucking TikToks, the things that are like boom, 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 boom. That is training you to be hyperactive, for your mind to always need to be busy and to move on to the next thing. That I would tell you 100,000% that is definitely contributing to the rise in prescription need for fucking Adderall, because that is a symptom of what you're doing on your phone all day. It's a huge combination factor of being locked into your fucking house, being forced to deal with your kids while they're being locked in their house. Crime is so fucking high now. We don't want our kids to go outside and play, like all this type of shit. But then also when you sit them down in front of the fucking screen, they're on TikTok. We're on TikTok.
Right.
We're doing the same shit to ourselves. So everybody is coming down with this fucking attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which, if I recall, back when I was growing up, kids that had that was some bullshit. South Park did a whole episode on it. All you need to really do is just learn how to be fucking disciplined about what you do. It's not a problem to be solved away by drugs, and I thought we had already fucking decided this back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But apparently not. Now everybody's on fucking Adderall.
Well, and you have been there when people have told me, when I've tried to talk to them about reading, and they've said, I don't have the attention span to read, but then that person has also said, I find it really satisfying to watch videos of people mowing their lawns.
Oh, like I remember that.
Like, there's a problem here where you would rather watch somebody fucking pressure wash a driveway or mow a lawn on a sped up video, on this real style video that's going to take less than 1 minute, than to read a fucking book. Like, that's not good. That's just so satisfying.
That was a real conversation,
and people. That's not just one person. Like, there's just millions of people who do that same shit.
Yes.
That's not a good deal.
Yes.
Trent said the person who reads that book on Audible has a terribly boring voice, so it's even worse. Yeah, I know. I feel a little bad for bringing you in February. But March on out is going to be way better. It's going to be way better as far as the
I've seen the stack. It looks good for the rest of the year. Right now, put it this way. If you can smash ass through this book in February, the rest of the year is going to feel like a vacation.
Yeah.
And so you're going to set yourself up real high. You're going to have to climb a real steep mountain in February. But once that's over, you've already conquered the world, baby.
Yeah, the Stephen Kings are going to be lit. We have the D-Day book by Stephen Ambrose. Like, that's going to be lit. I'm excited for the Sasquatch book with Devolution.
Devolution.
Yeah. I'm excited for all these things. Josh Keaton actually
good.
helped me figure out the December book. The December book is going to be, I don't remember what it's called, but it's the Lewis and Clark book that he just finished.
That's right.
He's going to throw it in the chat, I'm sure.
That's the Stephen E. Ambrose as well, right?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's only a 3-hour read, but damn. Yeah, I bet. I bet. I'm sure.
Trying to be over here picking up the abridged version, bro.
Yeah, it is pretty quick. It's not like
it's just dense.
Yeah, because even the print is pretty. This one, I think it even says is like revised and enlarged edition. So the type is even. It's probably smaller if you get the original copy. I have another one of his books that's
one
like
of those pocket books.
Undaunted Cougar.
Ooh,
what I'm talking about. That's the December book. So we got time. Yeah, he was running through a bunch of. Josh Keaton has a great Instagram, by the way. All these dope polls that he has and stuff like that.
Adolphus Keaton. If I recall.
We talk about this frequently. Undaunted Courage. I was like, yeah, Undaunted Cougar. That's lit, right? There's cougars out here.
I typed it in. I'm like, why am I looking at pictures of cougars, man? What's going on here?
Oh, we're terrible. We are terrible.
Oh,
yes. So there you go. Undaunted Courage. We're out here. It's going to be fantastic. I am excited. December book.
$14.49 on ChristianBook.com.
Yeah,
How about $10.99 on Amazon? Thank you, Amazon, for the win.
I'm probably going to reread The Indifferent Stars Above too at one point as like a side book because that book is so goddamn good.
I mean, if I can't have zombies, I'm going to have people eating other people, right? Is that where you're at?
And I think I said this during the review preview and I was deterred at the time. And I think I might actually just fire off an email to Daniel James Brown's people and be like, hey, what's up with an interview? Like, can I Zoom with them? Yeah, can we do a phone call? Like, I'll come to your house. I'll come to wherever. Like, because I would rather do video, I would rather you and I both go out there and like do a video of me just 30 minutes, about this book or whatever. And like, I would rather do that. But I can understand why maybe they would listen to the show and be like, I don't think we're interested. but I think that it would be.
We could do it for the book club, and then just do a special Zoom book club edition, and it would be fucking. That'd be lit as shit.
Just send in the review preview I did for the book, and be like, "What do you think about this? Watch this video. Tell me what you think."
That's right. I get some more Chinese spyware on my computer. I'll re-download Zoom for that guy.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So as far as the Adderall shortage goes, there's also an issue as far as government regulation, right? Because there was a bunch of requests from all these pharmacies to, of course, this is all regulated heavily by the federal government.
Yes.
Even down to the DEA.
Yes. Because it's a controlled substance.
Yes. The shit, the ingredients that can be used to make these pills. So.
Now, I just want to point this out real quick. This is from the FDA's website announcing the shortage of Adderall, right? So I'll just read through it real quick. On October 12th, 2022, FDA posted the shortage of the immediate release formulation of amphetamine mixed salts, aka Adderall or Adderall IRL, on the drug shortage website. FDA is in frequent communications with all manufacturers of amphetamine mixed salts, and one of these companies, Teva, is experiencing ongoing intermittent manufacturing delays. Other manufacturers continue to produce amphetamine mixed salts, but there is not significant supply to continue to meet U.S. market demand through those processes. Adderall are FDA approved for the treatment of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and narcolepsy. Until supply is restored, there are alternative therapies, including extended release versions of amphetamine mixed salts available to healthcare professionals and their patients for amphetamine mixed salts approval indications. Patients should work with their healthcare provider, so on and so forth. So this is interesting. So from the actual FDAs, I noticed they didn't even bring up the fact that there is a bureaucratic problem in the chain going to the DEA, who is required to approve, supposedly approves all requests to allow more circulation of this drug by the FDA when they ask, but they still have to approve that. And apparently there's a problem in this communication, or they're not it's happening too fast, and so the bureaucratic slowness of this is just helping to gum up the fucking works here.
Right. And we can read, I have the same article that you do, the ABC article or the NBC article.
Yes.
And it's under making more is not as easy as flipping a switch.
Yes.
Most ADHD medications fall under a class of controlled substances called central nervous system stimulants. Because the medications have a well-documented history of abuse and addiction, the FDA and Drug Enforcement Agency limit how many pills a pharmacy can dispense at once and how frequently patients can refill their prescriptions. The DEA also sets limits on the active ingredients pharmaceutical companies use to make these drugs each year. Quote, the DEA is involved if any manufacturers try to scale up production. Jonio said the DEA calculates how much of a given drug ingredient is needed to meet demand, then allocates the precise amount. The problem, according to Jonio, is how DEA uses historical data, meaning prescription numbers from previous years, to set these amounts. Demand forecasts based on historical data couldn't predict the sharp rise in ADHD diagnosis during the pandemic. Now there's a mismatch between DEA quotas and prescription numbers. The quotas have been troublesome for companies like Novartis-owned Sandoz, which makes generic Adderall and Concerta. Since mid-2022, we found when a customer ordered more from us than what they forecasted, we were unable to fulfill those orders. Leslie Pott, a Sandoz spokesperson, told NBC News in an email, we petitioned the DEA for an increase in volume with some requests accepted and some denied. According to Pott, these customers range from hospitals and institutions to retail pharmacies, specialty pharmacies, and wholesalers. So, like you said, there's even a, as you would assume, a process for them to petition to increase the amount, and the DEA gets to
say yay or nay.
And how I can say it arbitrarily. That's the only way. They're deciding these amounts based on what the previous year's numbers are. And there is subsequently shortages in other medications like Concerta, like they said, Vyvanse, other stuff like this, because when Adderall can't be found, they start to prescribe other medications that might also work. And so there's tons of people who were on Adderall before that now are taking all of these other either generics or different drugs altogether.
Yeah. It's no surprise to me that the DEA is essentially looking at the trends chart from past years and going, well, these projections show we should only supply this much. So if we're getting an increased demand for this much, it just must be because of nefarious means or something like that. It doesn't make sense to us that everybody keeps getting more. They need more of these legitimate prescriptions. And so we have to do more investigations on what's going on. I guarantee you there's some kind of bureaucratic bullshit that's helping to slow roll all this because the numbers just don't match up and it doesn't make sense to us. And so that's the way the government works.
Meant to combat some of the things we've seen before in the past, like the pill mills and stuff like that with different painkillers. When we're having this, Jesus Christ, the Percocets, the Vicodins, like that type of stuff. Oxycodones, that's what I'm thinking of. The different type of oxys. When you can, they were talking about there used to be like the chains in Florida. You could go to all these different hospitals, just get all these different medicine or medical offices, just pick up different prescriptions. Yeah. So it's meant to combat that type of thing, which I understand. But we say this all the time. You can't legislate against morality because this doesn't stop these people from doing these things, and it also doesn't stop it from when people doesn't. It hinders the process when customers need things and businesses can't provide them, right? So this, to me, presents at a time in which the government has too much power and influence in the ability for people to for the free market to operate itself and people to be able to freely trade and perform commerce, right? Yeah. There isn't a reason which the government is telling companies, isn't a legitimate reason to me in which the government is telling companies, you can't give customers this product because we have decided that it's too much. And that's not me arguing that this uptick is justified because, like I said, I tend to believe that it's overprescribed. I think that this is happening because adults are at home with themselves and at home with their children and finding out what assholes they raised, what assholes they are, how terrible all of these people actually are. They're now having to sit with themselves and their children and realize how much they fucked up. So they're on Adderall now.
That is not a good thing.
I'm not justifying it. I don't think that it's good, right?
It just sounds rough.
I'm having to compartmentalize it because if it was a legitimate uptick in demand, which I don't believe that it is, these companies should be able to meet that demand. The government should not be telling them that they can't meet this demand because they think that it's too much. Yeah. I understand and agree that this is in reaction to events we have seen in the past that are precipitated by individuals with low morals and that influencing companies and different medical offices in the way that they operate. Ideally, right? Ideally, pharmacists and people on the ground would take accountability and track the amount of drugs that are being given out to people, and they would be deciding, listen, this is too much. Like you've come back here 3 times in 1 month for this 30-day prescription. There's not a reason for this. I'm not going to give you these pills anymore.
A private tracking database for certain controlled drugs among pharmacists, like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is that's the pill mill for the opioids,
right?
That created that tracking system
because there were only individualized tracking systems.
So that, which
technological age, bro, some type of fucking social media where pharmacists can tap in and be like, yo, this guy, I don't know, and obviously that opens up concerns with people's medical information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get a little hesitant about it. I understand though, like there should be, or dare I say,
when people are willing to travel hundreds of miles to collect different prescriptions and pills, it's not so simple as individuals taking accountability.
And I think there's honestly only so much you could do about that. You know what I mean? It's kind of that essentially is the same kind of argument in my mind as you have to get rid of guns, even though criminals who want guns will always get guns.
Right.
You're going to hinder people's ability to get a prescription medication like Adderall who might legitimately need it because of the few people that are going to take advantage of the system and abuse it and travel hundreds of miles to go hit up shop by shop by shop by shop by shop.
Right.
And so, yeah, my kind of libertarian spidey sense tingles when I start thinking database and stuff.
You're right.
But I mean, I would imagine there's got to be some kind of...
Because I was thinking small scale, so you're right.
There's some kind of free market solution that could happen. I mean, among pharmacies or something like that. Yeah. Or, dare I say, some kind of active community involvement with the pharmacists and the local community. You'd probably need way more pharmacists, way more pharmacies to do that. But, you know, and you'd have to get away from the corporate model and all this shit. But in a perfect utopian world, you'd be able to, you know, your pharmacist would be like, bro, I've been filling these prescriptions for you and it's getting more and more and your doctor just doesn't seem to give a fuck. Or on the doctor's level, hey man, this is probably not good. We need to find some workarounds, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you could do for people that are going to take advantage of the system.
I would have to think about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was saying, and on top of that, to get back to the government involvement point, right? Not only are you slowing the production of this free market entity, right? These prescription pills, but on top of that, by arbitrarily clogging up the system and slowing things down, you're also increasing the price because the supply is shorter, and the demand continues to go higher. So all you're doing is arbitrarily making it more fucking expensive because of the ineptitude of the government to do their fucking job. It's a it's a multi-pronged fuckery.
And there's no question that there's a huge street market for Adderall. So I can't imagine what that's doing to, I don't know how much crime is tied in with the Adderall fucking industry, you know?
It's not like opioids.
No, but it's got to be driving up the price on the streets as well, if that's the case.
I mean, it's fucking speed. Yeah. We've seen how Adderall affects people.
Adderall's all, it's crazy popular right now. People taking Adderall. I used to take fucking Vyvanse when I worked at the call center.
I mean, you work at a call center. You probably need that.
I was buying Vyvanse from other people who had prescriptions.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we've seen it go bad.
Yeah.
Among individuals who just cannot function because they're on high doses of that stuff, and then withdrawal syndromes, and they can't sleep, and it really can fuck people up.
Yeah.
But also, the entirety of the journalistic industry is run off of Adderall. I think every major journalist that's ever gone on any talk show has talked about how, that's how you fucking smash out stories like this. I mean, I would be surprised if the percentage of people that are on some form of Adderall-like substance isn't like 1 in 5 at the very least throughout America.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. It's probably not a good thing. I think it would be a very interesting investigative journalistic piece for people to dive into the world of Adderall, into fucking speed. Because what are we talking about here? What is Adderall? It's fucking speed.
It's amphetamine.
Yeah. It's
amphetamine salts.
Exactly.
That's what they said.
Amphetamine mixed salts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure, man. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to think, this is not something I think about very often or have thought about really at all. So I would have to think more about it.
I didn't even know it was happening.
to try and hash out a solution, right? So because I hate to be the guy that just bitches about it and be like, but I don't know what to fucking do about it. So I just want to be open that like it's not something I thought too much about. So I would have to think about it more to try and decide a solution. But unsurprising to most people listening, I am uncomfortable with the government's ability to regulate the way people do business with individuals. But again, I don't want to be just a contrarian or whatever. About like this isn't how it should be done, but I couldn't tell you a better way to do it.
That's better. That's better than my take, which is basically
get your shit together.
That's it.
All of them.
Just get your shit together as a society. We don't need Adderall. Just be better people. That's not really a great answer, but I mean, it's mine.
So let's talk now about
moving on
the Neuralink trials. Unless you have anything else to add about this.
No, I hit my major points.
Yeah,
and that's the government slowing it down, arbitrary bringing the price up.
Yeah,
fuck them.
That's how we're hammering this show out. We're just going to kind of hit as many topics as whatever, and we're going to just run through it. So yeah, let's talk about the Neuralink trials now. I'm getting my timestamps here for when I go back because I'm gonna have a ton of them since we have all these little topics.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, Neuralink trials, and I will send you
get your shit together.
this article that I have so that we can watch the monkey video.
Yes, please.
Because
that means I need to open up.
Yeah, get your signal on because this article is more than 1 year old, right? But this is one that I found that has a fucking wild video.
Is this the fucking?
This is the monkey video. Yeah.
What kind of monkeys?
It's a macaque.
A macaque?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is from a year ago, but this is just to kind of underline because I knew this was happening, right? Neuralink, obviously, is an Elon Musk company. We've talked about this, and it's implants in your brain to allow you to control other shit. And he's saying, the end goal is for us to be able to take like quadriplegic, paraplegics, and make people be able to walk again and do all this type of stuff. This particular thing with the controlling of the joystick, as we're going to see, is more leaning towards. He's saying, I want people will enable someone with paralysis to use a smartphone with their mind faster than someone with thumbs. That's what he was saying.
First-person shooter is about to get lit.
It's going to be wild. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
So yeah, you might have to resend that to me.
So I had not sent it yet. I was fucking talking. So let's.
It's good because it takes a minute for my signal to open up on the computer. Oh yeah. I'm going to have to make sure to open up the article and not display our Salty Boys chat. I
almost sent you in there. So lounging with the dog. But that underlines we were talking about having to figure out how to read. The dog needs love. I also need to read. So I had to hold the book in a weird angle just so I could get it done. Yes. Okay. So this is a video of a macaque monkey named Pager, who is doing. I feel like that's how it's pronounced. That is how I have always understood it to be pronounced. You're just dirty. So
we're gonna test this theory.
Well, yeah. What do you think it is?
Macaque.
Right.
You're saying macaque.
I feel like we're saying the same thing. So
tomato.
We're gonna watch this video because it really freaked the shit out of me. And it's this monkey being able to. Well, we'll just watch it. That'll explain it.
Trends on my cock level.
Yeah, this is
Pager.
This is Pager.
He's a 9-year-old macaque.
He's a macaque.
Neuralink placed in each side of his
brain.
Not
macaque.
About 6 weeks ago.
It's the same thing.
If you look carefully,
make this thing big so you can see what they're doing. Yeah,
hasn't quite fully grown back yet.
Okay, so you see it, right? He's moving the little dot into the square. He's using the joystick,
and
he's getting some snackies from the tube.
It's just a smoothie.
We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone. Just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth speaker.
At least there's no snap into fucking. I've been connected.
The links record from more than 2,000 electrodes implanted in the regions of Pager's motor that coordinate hand and arm movements. Neurons in this region modulate their activity with intended hand movement.
So they're tracking
it. Some might become more active when he moves his hand up, and others when he moves it to the right. By recording from many neurons...
This is already kind of disturbing enough. Just watching a monkey play with a joystick like this.
Right?
I'm like, I don't...
And he just jumped right up there.
Yeah. I have a real problem now with people killing monkeys.
Yes.
Feeding their activity into a decoder algorithm, we are able to predict Pager's intended hand movements in real time. First, we calibrate the decoder by recording neural activity as Pager uses the joystick to move a cursor to targets presented on the screen.
That's so wild.
As he's playing this game, we're wirelessly streaming, in real time, the firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer.
Whoa.
Yep.
Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce.
I don't see no wires.
After only a few minutes of calibration,
Like it's just in
we
his
can use
head.
the output from the decoder
So
to
now
move
see,
cursor.
the joystick is not connected anymore. I don't know. They can't see it on because our thing's in the way.
Oh, yeah.
But the joystick is now disconnected, right?
Instead
The
of the
joystick, the
joystick.
cord has been unplugged.
Pager still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity.
What the fuck?
Our goal is to enable a person with paralysis to use a computer or phone with their brain activity alone.
Well, you done it.
Because they wouldn't be able to move a joystick, they would calibrate the decoder by imagining hand movements to targets.
Oh, gee.
One of the things the Neuralinks allow Pager to do is to play his favorite video game, Pong.
Okay, so now he's
There's
playing Pong.
no
To control
The
his
joystick
paddle
is completely
on the
removed.
right side of the screen, Pager simply thinks about moving his hand up or down.
And he's controlling
We've
the
removed
right
the joystick
the right one.
altogether. Now that he's up to speed, let's increase the difficulty and see how well Pager can play with the Neuralink.
And this is not like tracking eye movements. This is just brain signaling.
Brain activity.
As you can see, Pager is amazingly good at Mind Pong. He's focused,
Mind Pong.
and he's playing entirely of his own volition.
While munching on the smoothie.
Yeah.
It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical signals from the brain.
Bro. We are
Great
so
game,
fucked.
Pager. And what better reward for a monkey than a banana?
A banana.
We still have challenges spanning many fields of engineering. So if you're good at
You want to know how I know they gave that monkey the banana? He didn't really open it.
How?
He didn't hold on to the handle.
Yeah. He's just eating out of there.
Well,
Okay.
that's fucking
Right. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
just to underline what we're talking about.
Yes.
Right? This is what they were willing to show the public 1 year ago, over 1 year ago. Right?
that's
So definitely they were more advanced
is not
than that at the
brand
time.
new.
No. The reason we're bringing this up is because they're starting human trials in like July.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why we're talking about this. So, and there's been some question, I guess, about the brain implants, right? Let's see. This is an article from Forbes, and Elon Musk Neuralink has applied for the FDA to approve to begin human trials. If the approval is granted, the company will likely start human testing on the device in 2023. The company believes that they will be able to potentially restore sight in blind people and could even give people with severed spinal cords the ability to walk again. Musk has stated that he plans to implant one of the devices into his own brain
What?
once they're ready.
What? So he's not willing to go to Mars, but he's willing to put the Neuralink in.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know if we can we already have a hard enough time handling Elon Musk without a Neuralink. What are we going to do when he gets one? Then we're really going to Mars, like next year.
Yeah.
Done. This is freaky. So here's my question, right?
Yes.
Because the science behind this, I can comprehend its concept, right? Behind the monkey and the Pong game, that makes sense to me. So the major leap being you have created this device that can map out the neural pathways in your brain involved in having things go up and down, move left and right, just some basic things that you're trying to get a computer to do, right?
Yes.
But when you're talking about like failed eyesight, that seems like a different problem altogether. It's not a failure necessarily of your brain chemistry at that point, your brain wiring, so you can't see. It's oftentimes blindness is from some kind of biological problem in the actual like equipment that is your eyes. You know, the spinal things like
between your eye and your brain.
yeah. So I'm interested to see how you go from point A to point B on that. I can understand like making a paraplegic walk again, maybe not under his own power, but with some kind of like bionic leg type of situation where you can have your brain send impulses to this mechanical thing that moves your legs, much like you would if you were walking. But I don't know how you repair the tissue or the muscle damage or something like that, which
What I'm imagining is some type of external, like some type of camera that you wear on your chest or something that is connected to the Neuralink that is just able to send those visual signals to
your brain.
to your brain, so that you're seeing what the camera is picking up.
So it's not necessarily making your eyes work again. It
Right.
might be something like, we're going to figure out a little fucking contact lens that you just
Right.
pop in
Right.
that will take in those things and then trick your brain into thinking that you're actually seeing.
Yeah,
It's slightly uncomfortable to me.
Musk stated in a recent Neuralink event that the initial applications for the device could include the ability to restore vision for the blind and even allow paralyzed people to walk again. So, neurons are the cells that pick up, Jesus Christ, pick up the glass, travels through, I get how it works, and interprets the messages. Let's talk about someone's eyes, bro. How are they going to do with the eyes?
Give me some eyes, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't say it's basic on how it works, but we just explained that in one paragraph that took them fucking 10.
Hey, man, they get paid by the word, man.
Yeah.
So this is from a Pharmafile. This little article kind of gives a briefing on the human trials.
Yeah.
Neuralink owner Elon Musk announced that he has submitted paperwork to the FDA, which he hopes will allow Neuralink to undertake human trials in 2023. The company are developing brain implant technology, which aims to allow the brain to control devices through thought alone in an attempt to treat patients with brain disorders or paralysis. The technology has already been utilized in animal tests with the monkey playing Pong, like we just saw back in April 2021. More recently, though, a monkey has been shown using thought to move a cursor around a keyboard and create words. Musk has called this telepathic typing. He continued explaining.
He should stop because that's freaking people out. Saying shit like that is not making it better. You're not
It's
making
telepathic
people.
typing.
Yeah, you just stop. Stop it. You're
just
using a
stop.
computer. Call it Wi-Fi. Call it Bluetooth, because that's what this is. And you're freaking people out by calling it anything
You got to
else.
connect to brain tooth.
Yeah, you're freaking people out by talking about we're giving people telepathy. No. You're using a computer, and that's okay. But you're scaring people when you're saying that. You're talking about fucking making mutants like legitimate X-Men, and you can't do that. You can't do this,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, see, more realistic implications to me, like immediately off the bat, just based off of the technology we saw with the monkey, would be things like connecting to your fucking Tesla car, because that's Bluetooth. You sit in it. Okay, let's go for a drive.
Drive with your brain.
Which that seems uncomfortable to me, because people get they can't stay off their cell phones while they're driving. Why are they going to
People
concentrate
already
on?
fall asleep in Teslas.
It's a whole deal, dude. But I mean, just think about the ability to connect to any Bluetooth device that you own with your brain. So you got a smart speaker in your house. You just think about your smart speaker and then think about it playing music, and then it just starts playing music.
All your smart light bulbs.
Like stuff like, your smart light bulbs. You walk in your house, think about the lights turning on, and then they turn on. That I see as an immediate technology able to use just with simple Bluetooth alone. I mean, how difficult would it be to train your brain and a computer at that point, once you have your Neuralink in, to be like, okay, this is me thinking about lights on, lights off, lights on, lights off. You do that 100 times, and then now every time you walk in your house, the fucking lights will turn on and turn off as you walk through your fucking house. Your thermostat, your smart thermostat will do the same thing. When you're cold, it adjusts to your body temperature. Who fucking knows? I'm not into this. This freaks me the fuck out.
You shouldn't be doing that.
I don't like this at all. It's uncomfortable. But I don't think you can stop it. It's all, this is one of the cats out of the bag situations.
Is this why you were asking me about this?
No, this was about, that was about let me ask you this, though. We can't put the cat back in the bag.
No.
Cat's out of the bag at this point, man.
Yes.
He's obviously, we got proof of concept here. This is something that is not going to stop now.
Do you think no matter what, this was going to happen once we started getting technology and shit? This is just the natural progression of technology.
Yeah.
Integrating it with, and I'm not saying it's a good thing.
It's just
Integrating
going to happen
with humanity.
Yeah.
I don't think, okay, let me be more specific. I believe it to be a noble goal to want to give people the ability to walk again who can't, right?
Yes.
These are all very positive things. I fear, like many other people, this is opening up a door that we do not actually want to fuck with. There's already questions about different type of like diseases on some of the monkey things and pathogens. The radiation in people's brains. I know how long can you have a microchip in your brain without it doing something bad, wrong to the biological matter inside of it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there really at no point there's no type of potential negative side effect to you having a microchip in your brain? Really? It seems like there probably would be.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Dude, if I was hung up about long-term trials for COVID vax, then I'm hung up about long-term trials with fucking Neuralink. Okay, this is a foreign object you're sticking inside of your brain matter. I feel like there's going to be some consequences here that we might not pinpoint right off the bat. It's, who the fuck knows? We know so little about how the brain works, how consciousness works, and we're fucking with it by putting brain chips in there. I mean, brain chip is like a colloquial term. This is not like a chip. I mean, this thing has like fibers and
Right.
little tentacles, and it's a weird little thing. But
Can we find a picture of it?
I'm sure we can.
Can it get hacked? Probably.
Oh,
I know. I mean,
it connects to Bluetooth.
Yeah. They're talking about a whole
That's
thing.
why I'm like, it has
Bluetooth
to.
speaker. Yeah.
Right?
Like this. Let's see. Imagine someone who was diagnosed with ALS and was unable to speak or easily move their hands. Communication for people in this situation can be really difficult. With Neuralink, they could simply think about what they wanted to say, and Neuralink could transmit this via Bluetooth to a smart speaker or other device which could speak their thoughts for them. Yes. So it just Bluetooths in. That's what
Yeah.
Neuralink is?
It's what it looks like when I'm seeing it.
That's terrifying that it's that small. It's just a tiny, tiny thing that they put inside of your head.
Apparently. Tiny little thing. See, there's a couple different versions of what I'm seeing here, so
Yeah.
I'm not really... I would imagine that it's probably something that they don't want everybody to see what it looks like because then you automatically have some kind of ability to replicate it.
The band makes sense, though. The band with that makes sense
Yeah.
with like the different sensors on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the one picture that's broken up into like four. Like it's a band that's broken up into like four things connecting in
over
different
here?
parts of the brain. No. Like the band breaks up
over here?
into.
Shrink,
Yes,
shrink, shrink.
that makes sense.
The N1 implant. So that tells me that's probably like a first prototype type
Yeah.
thing, the N1. H1N1.
Like someone can control your whole body, probably. And I don't. And that's like, this is what I'm talking about. This
makes
is
me
why I feel like this
uncomfortable.
is not good.
I've seen this movie before,
There's
bro.
a series of any number of reasons why this is not a good idea.
No.
And I don't.
I just watched all them Divergent movies, man. They did something real similar, but it was like a little drug that they shot up everybody to make them like human robots.
People
Okay?
can steal your debit card information by like tapping on your phone with their phone, So I don't. Someone can just tap on your head with something, or like get close to it and just connect to your shit. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to conspiracy theory, forgive me, YouTube, but I don't literally, who knows? And I have a hard time believing that as genius as, Elon Musk and all the people at Neuralink have to be, because definitely they're all geniuses. Hackers are really good. They're really, really smart. They're
Always.
really, really smart. And probably the smartest person on the whole planet is some guy who lives by himself and don't talk to anybody at all. And that's probably how it works.
Yeah.
So that
Next
guy,
thing you know, you're gonna wake up in his driveway
Yeah.
after just delivering him a fucking McDonald's, value menu, and then you're gonna be like, "How did I get here?"
It's gonna-
Like,
yeah.
he just wanted some McDonald's, so he said, "Fuck
Exactly.
you, I'm taking you over for a minute."
and he's going to do something benign like that just to show the world, like, hey, just so you know, this is possible. And if I just made this guy go to McDonald's for me while he was asleep, imagine what somebody else could do. I'm not telling anybody how to do this. I'm not doing whatever. He might even kill himself afterwards just because he's like, this is too fucked up that we're living in a world like this. Yeah, no, but the first guy to do it isn't going to be an evil genius. He's going to be some guy who's just hanging out and figured it out, like the guy who hacked into
Yeah.
the Joel Osteen power cube.
Yes.
The same thing. It's just going to be some guy who figures it out and does weird shit with it.
Just
like,
to say he could.
yes. Bilbo Swaggins, howdy fellas. Hope you all are doing well. There's a third unidentified object flying over Canada. Let's look it up on the Google machine.
Let's do it.
Unidentified object over Canada. How now we just find out that this just happens all the time, Like, yeah, little did
Yeah.
we know this is actually consistent. Half the
US
planes
jet.
you see. We shot it down. All
Do
right.
I have a New York Times credit? No, I don't. Fuck off. Let's pull up the National Post.
Joseph Garrett, this is probably the first step to AI taking over humanity. Do you think this will be Ali, A-L-I-E, from The 100? You've seen that show. I have not.
Ali. I'm trying to remember who this is now.
Jordan has seen that show, too.
It's been a while. I don't remember.
I imagine
to be
it's
honest.
a robot person.
I'd imagine it is. I don't remember that being in The 100.
That's certainly potential, you know. I mean, if you're integrating things like that, I don't know how long it is until their BBC just posted about it. He said,
yeah, this is from the Canadian Press.
Yeah, I don't know how long it is until they start integrating like personal assistants and shit like that into your. I mean, what do we have right now? We already have Alexa, right? So if you Bluetooth into your Alexa speaker, you're already talking to Alexa. Mm-hmm. You're already You're literally communicating with her through your brain. So is there anything to say that you wouldn't hear Alexa's response to your demand or to your request in your brain? Like she says it out loud on the speaker, her response. But if you don't say anything out loud, if you just say it in your brain, why would she respond verbally? Over audio, right over the speaker.
It would just do the thing.
You would hear it in your brain.
Yeah.
That is already, if you integrate with a smart speaker like that,
Yeah.
Google Home, anything, you're already AI integrating your neural link.
The only difference would be instead of like now you have to train your voice, right? When you get one of those speakers things, you got to talk to it for a little while,
Yes.
answer questions and blah, blah, blah. And then it learns your voice.
Yes.
It would be doing the exact same thing, except you'd be looking at prompts on your fucking smartphone that says, okay, now think about this, now think about that, now think about that.
Yes.
And it would map out the brain patterns for this thing, identify those brain patterns as you, and then you create personal profiles for everyone that attaches to that thing so that you know that you like your lights to turn on to every room as you walk through the house and your spouse or your roommate doesn't, and so they set theirs up not to do
It
that.
will track the parts of your brain that fire when you think about the lights.
Mm-hmm. Like, I want lights on means this, lights out means that. I mean, this freaks me way more out than thinking about social media and TikTok fucking with our brains and all this shit. No, this freaks me out way more now that I'm thinking about how this is going to go down.
And then they clone you, Trenton says. Precisely. Precisely.
But they'll tell you it's your consciousness and then that you can recycle yourself. But then you recycle yourself and then you just die.
Precisely. They will, it's just your consciousness that they're copying and putting it onto a computer somewhere.
I don't like this at all, bro.
Joseph Garrett, Applied Lucent Intelligence Emulator, Ali. One of the characters. Zeke, I'm having a hard time imagining people voluntarily giving up their autonomy to something that could potentially be hacked or could rob you of your free will. Zeke.
I think you have way too much trust in humanity.
There are definitely people who will connect their brains to the internet because they think it will make their lives easier.
Or because the government says it's what you should do. How many people are getting 5 shots?
There are definitely people who would do that.
People don't even have to think about it. You just do it.
We were just shown over COVID how many people don't want autonomy. They don't want to make their own decisions. They want someone to tell them what to do because they don't want to have to think about what is best. And I mean, because there are people who still don't use fucking VPNs and shit. There are people who don't take any type of action to try and limit anyone's ability to track their location, their information, their anything at all. They don't care.
Some of them think it's a good idea.
People don't care.
Because what about the bad guys?
There are people who would willingly give up all of their information, who are the people who are like, well, I don't have anything to hide, so what does it matter if the government's tracking everything that I do? Those people will do that.
Yeah.
Because they don't want autonomy. They don't want that. They want to be taken care of. And if a microchip in your brain, a new band in your brain is going to be the easiest way to get taken care of by the government, then that's precisely what they're going to do.
That's right. I'm remembering now who Ali is from the 100. Towards like the tail end of the season. Yeah, she's like an AI type of deal. It's a whole thing. It tries to stop people from, essentially tries to keep them in line. We'll put it that way. Keep them focused where they want to be. That was a good show, man. I remember that.
The chip that people took from Jaha to be in the City of Light. Whoa.
Yes.
This is still on the 100.
This is the 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, wait.
Yeah, it was.
This is a
it was like a
conspiracy
thing
now,
that,
Joseph. Hold on.
It was like a thing that pacified you, and then you
Okay.
could go live in the City of Light and all this good stuff. And they kind of catch wise to what's going on. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, especially in a world of depression and anxiety, people are taking medications all the time. Now they can't get their medications. If someone tells you if you take this, you won't be depressed anymore. You won't feel this. You'll be able to integrate with the things in your household. Like your life will be easier.
Don't even have to look up Twitter, and you just think about Twitter, and
No.
you got all the Twitter in your brain. I don't.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I absolutely think that people will do that. I'm not saying that it will be half of the world or anything like that, but there will be people, and it doesn't take much. When someone your cousin or your fucking sister or something is like, oh yeah, I got the fucking Neuralink because it makes my whole life easier. Like I can drive my car with it. All my phone is like all my contacts and stuff on there. All my banking information is on there. All my everything is all on the phone. It's all
Never
it's
have
all
to
on the Neuralink.
Never have to pull out a wallet ever again. Just walk into a store, grab what you want, and walk out.
Yeah, it's all there.
Amazon style. And this is what it's gonna do, if I'm projecting forward correctly, is create a two-tiered society. Those with and those without, and those that have it are going to be the elites.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
There's companies, you can even look this up right now because I'm pretty certain that it's just a company. People getting like microchips implanted in their hand to be able to access their building and stuff like that and buy things. They'll definitely do it. That's a benign thing. That's like the microchip thing. That's a start to this. Microchip implants let you pay with your hand. This is
2022. But there's a thing going on around on Twitter at some point where the technology that's on those new cards, the tap and pay type of thing, the same shit works, and it's just in their wrist, and they go blink right up next to it, and they're done.
I'm telling you, people will do it. They'll be happy to do it.
Yep, a good portion of them.
And those people don't want freedom. They want to be able to, because you can't honestly think, if you are, in my opinion, you're being ignorant. You can't honestly think that if there's a microchip in your hand, no one can ever access it at any time. It's totally secure. It's totally legitimate. No one could ever do anything with it. That's bullshit. That's nonsense. This is 2023. If there's a computer chip in your hand, someone can do something with it. Even if it's just take the information, change the information, delete the information, put new information on there.
Oh my God. Your whole person has been deleted. Now you're somebody else.
Now you don't have anything on your microchip. You can't get into the building because someone fucking tip-tapped you just like they did on your... They sell wallets now. This blocks the RFID, whatever. Yeah. No one can tip-tap on your wallet. Someone can tip-tap on your hand.
Somebody can upload a new personality in you.
What I'm saying.
You can alter your own personality.
And so I don't think that it's reasonable for anybody to assume that microchip in their hand is secure. And so I believe if the people who are willing to get the microchips in their hand are presented with the opportunity to get the Neuralink inserted in their brain, then they would do it. And especially if they don't know that it comes from Elon Musk.
Yeah. Something else that would be actually really, really convenient for people like us is that when we're live on the internet, right, we would essentially just be able to ask the people to give us a like with their mind instead of actually find the little like button on the YouTube page and click it with the little thumbs up, which is something you all should do right now.
Yes. Like, subscribe,
you
share
don't
this with
need,
your friends.
You don't need the brain chip to like this video.
No, you don't.
Like this video if you don't want the brain chip. I was not expecting to go down this path. I've been not trying to think about Neuralink very much.
Yeah.
That watching the monkey video was way more disturbing after seeing it than it was as I envisioned it in my head.
Isn't it dark?
Yeah, it's not cool. Like, it's cool, but I'm not super into that.
Yeah.
It's gonna make things like going to Mars way easier. Because the crew that's piloting the fucking ship and stuff like that, you don't have to have 1,000 million different buttons and manual like we did in the Apollo missions and all this stuff. You just think about it and the computer does the thing, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh geez, there's a small air leak in one of the hydraulic hoses. Well, I'm going to think about solving that problem, and then the little thing's going to...
The robot's going to go out
there.
The
nanobots, the melting fucking Lego robots are going to go out there and patch the leak.
Yes. The melted metal robots. The T-1000.
Why are we in this?
Yes. Zeke says, Neuralink needs to be limited to vulnerable members of society. I feel what you're saying, but also, like we said, Elon Musk said, I'm going to get one as soon as we can do it. So at the very least, God love him, Elon Musk is going to be doing all kinds of wild shit with his own Neuralink. Anything he can think of is tap it in there. Let's just give it a shot.
The only thing Elon really wants his Neuralink for is so that he can lay in bed at night and go, sleep mode, activate. And then he can sleep for 6 hours. That's why he wants that shit.
Yes. So I don't think this is a good idea.
We've entered sci-fi, bro.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm glad you think that. Well, it's going to happen.
There's some stuff, there are some things that
I don't like this.
That are positive, but we need to genuinely and sincerely do a value assessment on these things and decide if it is worth the risk that it imposes, right? I mean, like the research, with the
research
with the genes or with the diseases.
Oh my God.
Gain of function, right? Gain of function research, right? There's value to this. When you hear the argument, there's value to what you're talking about. You're trying, there is positivity there, right? Also, it's the same deal. We need to have a discussion on whether or not there's enough value to that to warrant the danger that it poses to doing that domestically, to doing it around the globe, to doing it anywhere,
and
right?
What's the gene therapy thing?
Just because we should doesn't mean we should.
Just because
we
can
doesn't mean that we should.
Yeah. We were so busy thinking whether or not, or asking ourselves whether or not we can, we didn't ask ourselves whether or not we should. But what's that gene edit? CRISPR. Same type of deal. So not only now are you going to be able to mold yourself to be a fucking golden god, but now you're going to have the brain chip in there to have the actual mental capacity to go with it.
I don't think this is a good idea.
We're on the path, bro.
Don't think this is a good idea.
This is it. This is the prequel to the sci-fi movie that is the future.
I'm not in on Neuralink.
I'm just kind of freaked out right now.
Let's talk quickly about this JRE Peter Z. Hunt episode. Right?
Okay, yeah.
This was a request from. Oh, you have this is a new thing, or is this?
This is the balloon that they pulled up from the Atlantic. I was just getting some other stuff.
Yes. Because this was a Kevin request episode, so Peter Z. Hunt, right? Because it'll be pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I was not freaked out by this episode.
The end of times.
Right. I told you I was patting myself on the back, like I was like I'm in it. We're not. The nukes is not happening. I was not sold. Anybody can go back and listen. Excuse me. I was not sold. I had a difficult time conceiving of the use of nuclear weapons in this conflict, especially or particularly at this time. I had a difficult time comprehending that. So that made me feel good. It also made me feel damn good to be an American. Damn good to live in America. And
proud to be an American.
Yeah, and I think it kind of harkens back to the let me ask you this that I think that's what it was. We were talking about earlier, whether we can go back. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that we can do here that we can produce domestically, that we could sustain for ourselves, that we don't do because we have invested ourselves in this globalist economy. Yeah, of where everyone needs to be equal. We're propping everybody up. Everybody's coming with us. Everybody gonna eat, right? Which is
everybody gonna eat.
Well, positive. Like I get it. It's very idealistic. I think that's a great thing, but it's not. When we did that, we stopped asking what is best for America and we started asking what is best for everybody.
Yes.
And sometimes that's a good thing to ask and sometimes it's not. I think that nationalism is what is going to save us and that is what we need to be operating as a main function. And I am not talking about isolationism or hardcore nationalism. I'm talking about being proud of what makes us Americans and riding what makes us strong. If we're the number one food exporters in the world and we're the number one energy exporters in the world, why are we bringing shit in from anywhere else?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? If we can make it here and support ourselves here with it, we should be doing that. There isn't any reason that we should be buying things from another country that we can make here and sustain ourselves with here. We need to be worried about ourselves, make our own shit, sell the excess to other countries. That's how we should be doing shit. When we're talking to Zeke's brother, when we're talking to Ivan about all this food production, it's like we can absolutely feed ourselves. We make enough food here to feed ourselves almost entirely.
Yeah,
there's no
We'd have
reason
to change some of the crops that we grow,
yes.
But it's not like we don't have the space and technology to do that.
That investment is worth it, right? That innovation, I think, is worth it, and I am optimistic at the opportunity that he described, as dark as times might be, for America to turn back in on itself in a positive way and reinvent the way that we conduct ourselves on an economic basis, on an industrial basis, on an agricultural basis. I think that's overtly positive, and that will demand the type of responsibility and perseverance that we were talking about earlier, because that type of hardship and chaos of people having to change their way of lives completely, the weak will not survive that. They absolutely will not.
No, and I think part of the interesting thing about that episode in particular was his kind of flippant attitude towards everything. He's kind of like, well, yeah, this is all just so obvious. I'm so smart. And
he was
so
kind
full
of a
himself.
douche.
He's
Yeah.
kind of a douche, right? And, you know, when he talks about, you know, we're going to have to reindustrialize America as a part of how we do this thing. And, you know, he's very certain that this is going to happen and all this. What over the past even decade, with the people that are in power, that control all the levers of power, to include the government and multinational corporations, tells you that is going to be a system they support wholeheartedly,
Or that they're competent enough to pull it off.
yes, without destroying half of the population in its wake.
Just like he was talking about happening in other countries.
Exactly, right? And so I don't put full stock in his, like, this is going to be just fine.
Right.
America's going to be fine. We'll just have to, you know, we're gonna end up reindustrializing the thing. We'll just make Mexico make all of our cheap shit. You know, they're already on the way there. China's on the downfall. Okay, well, where's all the made in Mexico shit?
Yeah.
No, they grow a lot of food, because the only food we actually do grow on a massive scale is not necessarily for our consumption. It's fucking corn, which is for our consumption, as well as other things to make sugar and and puts the fucking formerly Aunt Jemima fucking bottle so that you can slather it on your fucking
They do
pancakes in the
more
morning.
labor than actual
Soy,
production. Like,
yes.
because they are big involved in cars and like those type of industries, different type of
Yes.
appliances, like that type of stuff.
that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yes, and then
And that's why he was talking about them being they are more skilled workers than there are in China, and they're
Yes.
cheaper labor, cheaper and more skilled.
Yeah.
And just that the people in China know how to slap shit together.
slap together cell phones.
They're
and-
productive.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then you still need like the high technology parts of that to
Yes.
get to that place to be
Yes.
to be thrown together.
Yeah, no, I think what I drew
yeah.
from him really was that I aligned with the potential that he was talking about, like we have the ability to get that
We
done.
do.
And I believe in that. I aligned with that, and that made me feel good. But that's also where I was talking about. It gets back to like that's also very idealistic, because the people that we have now aren't equipped for that. You know?
Drive around the Northeast, and there's a multitude of abandoned factories from when we used to make things like fucking tennis balls, and shit like that. When we made shoes, and we made all these different
Zippers.
things, that have all gone abandoned and have shipped overseas, and the towns around them that used to be supported by those factories are ghost towns now. Like, that's not something you can just. It's not as easy as flicking the switch and turning it back on.
Right.
The real estate exists, the technology exists, but
the
workforce can exist, and but the bureaucratic, and we'll just say the cost of entry to doing it is far too high for anybody to actually begin that, and the regulatory burden on top of that is too expensive to maintain to have anything that is sustainable. Most products that aren't made in America are not made in America because it is vastly more expensive to make it in America, and you would not be able to sell it.
There would have to be an immense slashing of big parts of our economy that would bring down the value of our currency likely, but would also bring down the cost of our goods. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only way, is if people pay nothing for their items like we used to, then you don't have to make $20 an hour like people are demanding now. That's that's the only way that type of thing could go back, is if you adjust the economy like that. And that's such an immense slash into the government that it's impossible for that.
You just have to gut it wholesale with all the regulation attached to it.
That's why I think his shit hinges so harshly on like chaos, on some type of global fuckery to like, we don't have a choice but to adjust to this.
He's the modern day Ian Malcolm. Jurassic Park. Chaos theory, you know, he's like this wacky guy that speaks in ideological certainties.
Yeah.
He's got the ponytail, the weird thing.
Yeah.
He's always kind of upbeat and chippery, even though he's talking about China being gone in 5 years and Russia being gone in like fucking 10 years.
His show that was heavy. Like,
Yeah.
global, it's heavy. You know,
Everybody gonna die. Oh, he's like, it's fine.
yeah. Some of his stuff, the stuff he was talking about China, made a lot of sense to me when he was talking about Xi, the way that he's formulated power and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and why he's pushing so hard for nationalism, right?
Yeah,
It made the internment of the Uyghurs make a whole lot more sense.
yeah,
That, like, if that's all you have is nationalism, that you need people to be tying themselves to be Han Chinese, you have to get rid of anybody who isn't or isn't willing to conform or convert to that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if you have people, Uyghur Muslims, the Falun Gong, all these different religious groups that they're persecuting, they're just trying to literally eliminate because they've been around longer than this regime, and
Yeah.
so they're unwilling to bend the knee. So we'll just kill them all. That's
Well,
how we'll handle this.
yeah. And I mean, back in history, we got to remember, like right now, when we think of China, right? We primarily think about the Han Chinese, right?
Right.
Which used to be one of multiple major kingdoms that
Right,
made up
one
China.
of the dynasties.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the Yellow Turban Rebellion was about like the three major kingdoms of China. Like there was the Han, the Wu, and the Yi.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't remember. There was some really good video games like
That's beyond
that went
me at
fictional
this
that
point,
changed
yeah.
all that. But and then Total War made a really awesome game for that time period too. But a lot of my history comes from that fucking game franchise, by the way, because they used to be real epic about like the historical accuracy of the time periods that it took place. But yeah, so it's important to understand, like, to be ethnically Chinese used to mean a different thing than kind of what it does now. There used to be distinct cultures and kingdoms throughout this 3,000-year-old culture. And now it's a very different thing run by one fucking dude who thinks he is the greatest thing since air was invented.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the regime that Xi has created, you know, Peter, the guy, he talks about like the way President Xi has like changed the Politburo and the party and all this stuff to basically give him to be the only pillar of the Chinese government at that point.
He's totally isolated himself.
And that's what happens when there is a single sole power source like that, a structure of power. There's nobody else to, you know, when that pillar falls, which it inevitably will, because we all live and die.
He has to die eventually, yeah.
Yeah, like there's going to be a massive power vacuum and chaos is going to ensue. And I would doubt the fragility of the CCP's system will withstand that collapse.
Yeah.
You only got one major pillar holding up everything right now. And unless he's very specific about who he handpicks and grooms to be the next him, which it's getting a little late in years for that to be happening.
And Xi'an was making it sound like he's eliminated essentially all competition through the way that they've run the schools and stuff like
Putin's
that.
done similarly. You know, like he was talking about with the oligarchs, that there's essentially about 150 of them or 130 of them or whatever it is, 115, I don't remember, but some small 3-digit number of people that essentially run Russia with Putin as the main pillar at that point. He's eliminated or got everybody to kowtow to him except for like one person. And that one guy, everybody else is kind of watching him because they're like, well, if Putin gets off, it was probably associated to him, so he's fucking dead too.
Right.
So it's like this guaranteed kill chain of a failsafe. And it's I feel like it's a very similar thing with Xi, except it's just a single point of power.
Yeah.
But very similarly fragile systems, which, like he predicts, aren't going to last very long.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be good because of the global nature of the economy at this point. When one falls, it kneecaps everybody in one way.
So if we don't find a way to independence before that happens, we are boned in a big way.
And yeah, with the fucking leadership we have over the last few decades, I don't see somebody coming in and be like, we're doing something new.
They love globalism.
We're gonna be in it, man. Maybe it's, you know, everybody's favorite fucking T-Dog millionaire, but I doubt it.
Hashtag Uniparty loves globalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, where's all that outside black money or dark money gonna come from? It's not gonna come from within. We need it for our international partners. That's why we have all these charities and these associations, and to funnel all that fucking international money.
Yeah. It also kind of explains why you have some of these nations like Cairo or like Egypt, or like Saudi Arabia that are building these grand cities that they don't really have anything else going on. They know that eventually the oil wells are going to run dry, that eventually they're not going to have anything to offer. So they are making grand gestures, grand shows of like, well, look what we have to offer. Look at this amazing society that we've constructed here that will, in their hopes, continue to bring in foreign investment and travel, and people want to live there, and they'll go there to see the magnificence that exists there.
There'll be corporate money there. There'll be economies that are long standing.
Yes,
which
that's why
time will tell.
That's why these societies that are doing these things. It's to show value when they are what they have to offer the world now is slowly dwindling away. He will be downloaded into the chip and live forever in different bodies and rule China forever.
No!
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
I don't want that.
Xi is going to get Neuralink in July.
I got the clip for later when we talk State of the Union, but what was he yelling about? It's like, name a world leader who would change places with Xi Jinping. Name one.
You told me not to watch it, so I
got clips, baby.
Yeah, I purposely didn't watch it because
terrible.
you told me not to.
I can't wait to show you some of these clips.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But yeah, that's why nobody's going to change places with him, because, like Joseph said, he's just going to go into a new body.
Right.
So to that point, too, real quick,
Yes.
kind of what those other nations are doing by building those massive cities and bringing all this stuff.
Well, the Line in Saudi Arabia, that's what it's called. Check out the Line City. It's freaky as fuck. Check it out.
That's not going to be good.
Check it out.
That's a dumb situation.
Google it.
Did we not watch the video at one point on here?
I know that
remember.
Shoe on Head I did at one point,
Yeah.
so I know we both watched the Shoe on Head video, but I don't know whether or not we did on here. But the Line video is freaky as fuck.
Yeah, it's just one long giant wall city. It's not real, dude. Fuck
in the
all
middle
that
of the
stuff.
desert. They're doing
the
it.
simulation will not allow that.
The Matrix is going to reject that.
It's already going to have a hard time with us trying to jack into the Matrix of the Matrix, which is going to be an issue. But China similarly did something kind of along these lines within their own nation of building these massive cities with nobody to live in them.
Yes, ghost cities.
Yeah, except for the fact that I don't know what their whole ordeal was. I think it was more along the lines of spend money to try to make money to keep people to work versus trying to bring people into this situation. Because
they're not going to let...
Because they're all about control.
Right.
They're all about control, and they don't want necessarily a ton of foreigners to come in and essentially, change their culture like that.
No, and anybody who has a company there has to have like a CCP subsidiary or like a liaison who works with them directly with the government and the party to make sure that they're
it's all companies that are a specific size, and it ain't that small,
right?
Or it's not that big. Put it that way. But if you're a company that's moving to China for any reason, you're going to be big enough to have a CCP liaison that's going to work for you. We'll put it that way. And then if you have the money to offshore your business to China, you're big enough.
And then sometimes they just take all your stuff and tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. That's fun. And they put you in a little fucking dark room for a couple weeks, like Jack Ma, and then just you come out. Next thing you know, you're a shill for the government.
Because again, they don't have anything to offer. So when people come in there with intellectual property, they copy it. They start making their own stuff, and that's how you can get all this stuff on Amazon that costs $2 instead of $15. Is because they've taken someone's intellectual property. It happens with Bennett splints, that we make at work. That there are Chinese copies of shit that we make, sliding gloves and whatnot, that you can buy online. That are just complete knockoffs of the shit that we make.
That's right.
It happens all the time. We only make things in America. They just know that this product exists, so they just copy it. They just buy it from somewhere. They order it from somewhere, and then they just make it themselves. Happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hearing about a story about a company in Eastern Europe that did that.
It's wild.
Bought it like basically a couple of everything, and they were like, okay, well, we're just going to copy this now.
Yes.
We bought it, we reverse engineered it. Now it's ours.
It's wild.
You bunch of fucks.
It is wild what you can do. I mean, in America, they have legal protections against it, but anywhere around the globe, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, enforce that shit, bitch.
Yeah. It is interesting. Yeah.
It is
and
indeed.
China's, there's the one, the chip company, their technology company or whatever, that they formed, that they had a Chinese subsidiary, and then the Chinese subsidiary took control of the entire company, took all the intellectual property, all the money, and then said, bye.
Bye.
And closed down. Yeah. So they be doing that, you know?
Yeah, and fortunately, have you been following the James O'Keefe story at all?
Only through you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's some interesting movements in this one, and it looks like there's people fighting back. The major investors in Project Veritas have formed a legal fight now against
legal
this
coalition.
Yes.
I like
so there's
it.
been cease and desist letters sent to the board that ousted James O'Keefe, put him on paid leave.
Yeah.
And they were attempting to overthrow him and take over the company, but they're arguing in court at this point through this letter that I might have, that the investors in Project Veritas invested because there is only one person who represents Project Veritas, and that's James O'Keefe. And so by ousting him from this, you cannot have access to our funds. You cannot do anything with the company that we invested in at this point. And if you do, you will be giving us all that money back. So you cease and desist right now.
Yeah.
While you do whatever it is that you think you're legally capable of doing, you bunch of fucks.
This isn't what we signed up for.
Yes.
I'm into it.
So we're going to see how that plays out. But it's been a very interesting couple days because James O'Keefe has been silent about all this. I think it's because it's all legal shit. But
do you want to talk about the China balloon? I know you have some China balloon stuff up.
Let's talk about China balloon.
Okay, tell me about the China balloon.
Let me let Chuck Schumer talk a little bit about the original response from the Biden administration.
Because you did
to the balloon.
your live stream on it last week.
Yep.
So if you want kind of the recap of the old situation, go back to last week's live stream on Friday.
Yes,
and
do
Colin
that.
did his whole beer show about it. So we can just operate from it was shot down. We know about the stuff, and we can go from there.
Yeah, went all the way across fucking America.
Yeah.
So, and then this was Chuck Schumer talking about it at the time. This is before any of the other shit happened after that. So we're just picking up the timeline, basically.
Okay? So Republicans are stuck. They can't govern. They can't agree on anything. Instead, they're focused on political theater. They don't do any. They're not trying to do anything real. And we hope they won't continue to do this on something as important as the surveillance balloon.
Take a sip of that.
China sent that surveillance balloon over. The Biden administration was calm, calculated, and effective. According to, they listened to the military experts, they listened to the intelligence experts, and they did the right thing. But Republicans, even before they saw and knew what was happening, started, some of them, not all, lambasting the president. Those criticisms were at best premature and in all probability highly political.
So let me ask you a question.
Should the president go ahead?
By coming out against the opposition party who is giving shit for Joe Biden for allowing a Chinese spy balloon to fly over the entirety of not just the continental United States, but also Alaska and Canada, and allowing it to fly all the way over before we shoot it down offshore of North Carolina, I believe, one of the Carolinas, by telling the Republicans that because they're pissed off about this, that this is a political move. Is this not wholly a political move?
Absolutely.
So this is all this is Chuck Schumer saying, don't make this a political thing just because, our president did a good job and shot this balloon down because he listened to the experts, if you will. Then don't make this political, Republicans. Wait. Pause button. So what you're saying is you're making this political?
Right. It's completely hypocritical.
It's completely hypocritical.
Yeah.
So now, it looks like we got another fucking thing coming in. But these were the remains of the Chinese balloon that were discovered. They were being pulled out. These are the only public pictures it's just a small one. I think this is probably a better picture.
The Navy that did it, right? Or
yeah,
the Coast Guard?
The Navy people coming out and picking that up. Yeah, their Coast Guard's not allowed to touch that shit.
A lot of the shit is down at the bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
And they're like, we don't know how to get to it. So...
Yes, and what they have discovered were listening devices that could intercept radio traffic.
Yeah.
And
location data, obviously.
Absolutely, which essentially means that while the balloon was flying over the United States, they could potentially listen to any and all radio traffic. They could listen to cell phone calls that were intercepted. They could probably monitor internet traffic, I would assume, at that point. So, good job, Biden.
Right.
That's what I got to say about that. He did a fantastic job by not shooting it down before it came into our land border, when it was even in our controlled seas up in Alaska, or shooting it down over the fucking barren fucking ass parts of Alaska, and then making it Canada's problem, which Canada's not going to do anything against it. So what are they going to do? And then just letting it roll right through the entirety of the United States, not knowing what it was.
Especially because they were simultaneously arguing that they couldn't shoot it down because it could potentially have, pose a threat to people on the ground, but then also telling you, but don't worry about it because it will be just fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about it, but we are worried about trying to do something about it. That doesn't make any sense. Like, to tell you, there was even, I wish I could remember who it was. I should have saved the video, but there was a government official for the military that was asked by one of the reporters, you don't think that it's, relevant that, like, the United States or the people of the United States have active tracking data for this balloon? And he said, well, they can look up.
They can look up.
Oh,
yes.
That's nice. That we can go into our backyard and we can fucking look up, and that's how we can try and figure out where the balloon is.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be telling us where the balloon is because we don't know
We can look up
what it is. It could have been a goddamn bomb.
Yep.
It could have been some type of bomb. And you're like, don't worry about it. That's insane. And even if it's not, or that's
I
not
think we
likely,
played that clip on the beer show last week.
even if it's not, or it's not likely, to tell the American people don't worry about it is absolute fucking bullshit.
Exactly.
Absolute bullshit.
I think I was telling you this earlier this week, but a while back I'd watched that Don't Look Up movie.
Yes.
And it's like a carbon copy of the
Yeah.
situation. Well, I mean, you could look up, but don't worry about it. It's not really a big deal, right? But one of the other side effects of this entire story was in the aftermath of this thing, the White House was running damage control essentially, because people are very upset that they're watching this Chinese spy balloon go across the nation, and they're getting really pissed off about it, and they want some answers.
Yeah.
And so the White House's essentially response was through other people in the White House saying that, well, the Trump administration also had 3 of these things fly over and they didn't even know about it. But now we know about it magically. And so when asked about it, our lovely and irresistible press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, had this to say about it.
She is cute.
How is it possible that this administration discovered at least 3 previous balloons that flew over the U.S. under the previous administration, but Trump officials didn't know it was happening?
Yeah, so look, I think that, and we have talked about this before, about how
She's excited to be there.
when the PRC government surveillance balloons transited the continental U.S. briefly, at least 3 times, as you just mentioned, during the president's prior administration, and once that we know of the beginning of this administration's, but never for this duration of time, as we know. This information was discovered prior to the administration left, but the intelligence community, as I said, is prepared to give briefings to key officials, but this is something. Post. But this is something that they were not aware of, as we've just laid out.
How is it?
So if that doesn't make sense, you'd be considered intelligent, because it literally doesn't make sense. She just said a bunch of words that didn't mean anything. And she was obviously very lost in thought and was trying to come up with words, and she made very incoherent sentences. And I think what she was trying to say was the intelligence community under Trump knew about 3 other ones, but the administration was not interested in hearing about them.
Yeah.
But she did not say that. That's me trying to interpret the gibberish that just came out of her mouth.
It wasn't good.
No, man. She's usually not that bad, but that was really rough.
Yeah.
That was Joe Biden level. I don't know what you're talking about, man. You're making up words.
Trent
So-
said them using this girl is akin to them using blackface. She's not just black; she's also like either bisexual or a lesbian. She's intersectional for sure. This was a calculated move when she was brought in to replace.
It's like the
Jen
most
Psaki.
intersectional.
Yeah, Jen Psaki, is just a regular white girl. She's ginger. She's married. She has children. Like very standard, and that's why she had to go be on MSNBC. Is because they can't have that in the White House anymore, but they can have that on MSNBC.
Did you watch the balloon get exploded?
No, let's see it.
Okay. For viewing pleasure. Let's see if it cuts off. There we go. I forgot I got to adjust those bars down there. We lose
Yeah.
a third of the screen. Choo, boom.
Oh,
Skaboom.
just launched a rocket right through it.
Fucking old school Sidewinder, baby, from an F-22 Raptor.
I like it.
And then that thing fell down to earth real fucking fast.
I bet.
And,
There was all that shit inside of it.
Oh, there's like, if
right,
we
like
go
a
back.
satellite on it.
Yeah, there was that was like all the listening devices with the
Yeah.
solar panels and
Because
all
there's
that good
something
shit.
inside of it too, I think. Maybe
Yes.
just a structure.
I think it's
just
I think it's a rigid structure
Yeah.
from when we looked at the
Right.
Yeah, you can kind of see it in this picture here.
Yeah.
Like there's some kind of rigid structure that's going on in there.
Just
It's
a framing
obviously
for
hard
the
to tell.
balloon. That
yeah,
makes sense.
and the fucking government is so transparent. I'm sure we'll find out all about it.
Well, I remember, and then I told you yesterday, the Washington Post is like, government says there's more to be learned from the balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no fucking shit. It was a goddamn spy balloon sent from
Yes.
another country. I'm sure it's
You
not
think?
just all out there. There's probably some encrypted shit
Oh my
inside
God.
of that balloon.
Okay, so on top of the balloon stuff, right? We've also got some other
The lasers.
the laser from the
Okay,
satellite,
I
right?
saw this, and it's from a Chinese satellite,
Yes.
right?
So this is the video of the laser passing by.
Because
It's-
people saw this outside of their house,
Yes.
like Starlink.
This is over on one of the Hawaiian Islands. And so it's just a laser that's running by. China says it's just a satellite studying air pollution.
Then why?
That's a
is it-
powerful fucking
it's a
laser.
big laser.
It's a big
if it's
laser.
going from a satellite to the Earth and it's visible,
Yes.
that's a. I wonder if that could like harm someone if you got hit with that laser beam.
I would certainly imagine it's probably not good for you.
Yeah,
At the very least,
the amount
you
of
know?
rads that you take from that, huh?
So much, dude. But yeah, the Chinese, the Hawaiian
Ooh,
green
that's
laser
in
beam.
a house.
That is, it's probably out. Oh, it's from. See, that's the inside of the house. It's just from
It's-
outside.
But
so,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like it's going into the house though, or like on top of the house.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah, and so this is from the Science Times here. The Hawaii Green Laser Beam, not from NASA, ICES at-2 Atlas, but China's Daqi 1 ACDL. So it's a
What?
Chinese.
I would
it's
be
a Chinese
pissed,
satellite.
Be pissed if that laser hit my house.
Yes, right.
Oh my god,
And
China
so-
knows everything about you.
This is a whole deal, bro.
Probably fried your phones. I wonder what happened to that dude's house, to that person's house, when the
Every-
laser beam hit it.
Every aspect of their shit.
That's scary.
Okay, this is all State of the Union stuff. There's another thing I thought I had pulled up about it.
About the laser beam.
About no, this was about this is
Laser
something
beam
else
is
for
wild.
the Chinese balloon. Hang on, it's probably in my bookmarks. Sometimes with the two window thing, I get some things confused.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but
The China balloon is wild, or the laser.
The laser is
really
fucking
That
wild.
freaks me out a lot.
so here we have the same guy, the
Just said to look
Pentagon.
up?
Said to look up. This is
This is an
his
asshole.
This is his response about the second one. This is the briefing of the second one that was shot down just off the coast of Alaska.
At the direction of the President of the United States, fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command
Pat
successfully
Ryder.
took down a high-altitude airborne object off the northern coast of Alaska at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, within U.S. sovereign airspace over U.S. territorial water. On February 9, North American Aerospace Defense Command detected an object on ground radar and further investigated and identified the object using fighter aircraft. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. U.S. Northern Command is beginning recovery operations now. U.S. Northern Command's Alaska Command coordinated the operation with assistance from the Alaska Air National Guard, Federal Aviation Administration, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The object was about the size of a small car, so not similar in size or shape to the high-altitude surveillance balloon that was taken down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4.
And that's what we got from him. So, different in size, shape, altitude, very, very different there because 40,000 feet is cruising altitude for commercial air traffic.
Right. And they didn't say where it was from.
This came at it was more or less off of like the Nome coast. I might even have the map of the C-130s flying around.
I wonder how new this is. Like, I wonder how long they've been doing this, because they do this type of stuff. China, other countries do this type of stuff to each other all the time.
Yes.
Send missiles flying over, send listening devices. Like, it happens all the time. And maybe it happens here too, and we just are led to believe that it doesn't. And for some reason now, because it was a balloon we could see, we're like, it's like there's some type of name for it, but it's when someone's presented to you, like the red car thing. You know, you see a red car,
now you see
it all
over
over the place. That's like, so maybe it's been happening for a long time, and just now that we've seen the one, we're like, oh shit, there's another one. Oh my god, there's another one. Like now that we know what to look for, you know.
And that is definitely it's definitely a good thing to think about, because the only reason we know about it is because people fucking saw it.
Right.
And then obviously because the NORAD knew about it since before they tracked it all the way across Alaska and Canada.
Right.
I mean, NORAD is it's a joint venture between America and to include Canada. I mean, it's a whole deal. I think Mexico's involved too. I'm not totally sure. But we tracked it all the way from the beginning. We knew about it to begin with, and they didn't do shit about it until somebody saw it. And then it became a huge deal. This second one, everybody fucking knows about it. It's on, I'm not going to fucking say top of mind, because fuck Kareem Jean-Pierre for making that in common vernacular. It was so not funny. At the top of people's mind until now, because we just saw it. And now that we have another one that we just picked up, we fucking blew it out of the sky even before it got to the shores of Alaska.
Yeah.
It's what should have happened to begin with. But how many of these were happening without us knowing about it, because we couldn't see them, and the government knew about it the entire time, or were actually letting the Chinese actively spy on everyday Americans and our military bases and all this shit? For what reason? Well, because we do it too. That's not a good enough fucking reason.
Isn't that bad? I heard a lot of people who were like, why do I care about a China balloon when our American government listens to everything I say anyway?
Because fuck them.
So we should just let China do it too, right?
Yes.
We're already doing it to ourselves.
Well,
so
TikTok's already here, so fuck it. I mean, fuck you, no.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Just because people can perform identity theft. Oh, well, it might as well just happen to me too. Fuck it.
Zeke, those are the people that will get Neuralink. Those are the people that will get Neuralink, because they're like, oh, fuck it, I don't care.
Whatever.
Those are the people. They will get Neuralink. Yeah. No, I agree. And then what was I going to say? Oh, this is another one of those things, the policy on the balloons over the United States. It seems like it's another one of those conversations that we really should have of, there's there is national security interest in letting the balloon come over us and us being able to scan it and study it and like find out what they're finding out about us. But it's the same deal. We should be having a discussion about, like, are you guys comfortable with, as Americans, comfortable with this sacrifice? If they're going to collect your data, but we're going to be able to find out what they're capable of, what they are finding out, what they're doing with it, everything we can. We're going to find out about the China balloon, but we need you guys to be down with them potentially collecting everything that you are fucking doing, so that we can do that. You know,
we know about it, man. You can't lie to our face anymore and tell us it doesn't happen.
At that point, I can understand when we start asking, well, why should the government have access to whatever the China's collecting? Well, they already have it anyway. At that point, I can begin to understand that argument of, they're going to look at information they already can access as the United States government. So what's the fucking harm in them reading what China has collected? But we need to have that discussion and be asked as fucking the individuals who information they're collecting, whether or not we are cool with that, or we would rather be shot down before it even fucking gets here, like you said. But when we see it, we're like, no, get that shit out of here. It's on its way here. Get it out. Wherever it's from, go up there first, try and see where it's from, tell them, turn it around, or we're shooting it down.
Because you know what really happens here? Part of the reason this is so bad and the way it's going down is so terrible is because at the end of the day, when the public knows about it, right, that means the public knows that China, the government of China, sent spy shit over our heads, and we saw it and we know about it.
Yeah.
And the government didn't do shit about it, which means the government can't not do something about it going into the future. And China now knows that the U.S. citizenry knows this. And when it's spread around social media, the rest of the world knows this. And so it kind of gives China, the CCP, a little punch in the face and says, you guys got caught doing this thing. It looks bad on you, right?
Yes.
And now that makes them more inclined to, say, escalate the situation in some capacity. And so it all starts to play out on the public stage, and they will not be humiliated, nor will we. And then there's a tit for tat and escalation, which ends up in fucking Space Force News launching a Minuteman III unarmed fucking ICBM out into the Pacific because they sent another fucking balloon, or there was another balloon. And then now that the U.S. populace is like on fleek with this shit, they're not going to attempt to hide the second one. They say, we shot it down before it got to the shores. We're on our shit. We're good. And then China goes, you can't just keep doing that shit. If you do that and the populace doesn't know, we're going to keep playing this game. That's fine. We're going to go tit for tat. We're going to do this. Not a big deal. We shoot down your shit. You shoot down our shit. But as long as the citizenry don't know, then nobody wants to go to war. Nobody wants to say fuck China. Nobody wants to say fuck the United States. We just do this shit because we're trying to spy. Let's just do that.
Governments do.
And then after you shoot down the second one, you end up launching an ICBM out into the fucking Pacific to be like, don't do this anymore. We're not fucking around. We can launch some ICBMs. They still work. I know you all motherfuckers have been trying to look at our nuclear silos in Montana. Well, guess what? They still fucking work. We just launched one out in the Pacific.
We're having to do show of forces
Yes.
like they do over there. Like North Korea does when people fuck around. They're like, all right, we'll just fire off a couple missiles into the ocean to freak the fuck out of Japan.
Yeah. And this is from the actual spaceforce.mil, by the way. This is the Space Force's website. I've never been here before.
Those pictures,
It's
pretty fucking cool, though.
Yeah. And these are actually from, like this first one, I think, was from an early test years ago.
Pretty fucking cool, though.
But, I mean, they're pretty dope-ass pictures. Launching out of a fucking cornfield. Jesus, that's a fucking rocket, bro. So, anyways, that's where we end up with this shit.
Just not good.
And that's what's not... And then to have this news over another one over Canada and shit, that's... You know, the sad thing is all these fucking weather balloons probably were launched before anybody actually knew about it. The first one, right? Because it takes forever.
And
so now they're like, well, we got 5 more you guys got to deal with, man. So let's fucking figure out how to do this.
We got him in the chamber
If
already.
I'm G, I'm getting Biden on the phone. Hey, man. So we got a few more coming.
Right.
Let me tell you where they're at.
Just
So you guys
prep
can just
yourself.
quietly take them down or whatever. Just shoot them down real quick, all right, for us? And then this is done. Then we don't got to do nothing. You got to waste your 1960s rockets no more. It's fine.
Right.
But I don't know, man.
They
Leave me with
updated
a
him under
warm
Trump,
fuzzy.
right?
Yeah, they were like trying to
Yeah.
maintenance and all that shit.
Rejuvenating.
Yeah.
No way Biden came in and said, hey, stop that shit.
Yeah.
No way.
Military industrial complex. Gonna
The contracts are already rolling
Yeah.
through. Exactly.
Yeah, there's money to be made, baby. Okay. What's next?
Let's talk special forces or special force, unless you have anything else on this.
No.
Okay.
I was just going to ask if
Yep.
I can
Let's-
go pee real quick.
Oh, yes. Let's do special forces in Ukraine, and then we can cut it. Unless you want to start, we can go to the break now and then start part 3 with special forces in Ukraine.
That might be a good idea.
Let's do that. So what
Yeah.
we're going to do is we're going to take our next break. We're back in just a few minutes. I want to thank everybody, of course, for being here for part 2 of episode 142 of Salt of the Streets. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
And you can find all of our information. We have Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, all at Salt of the Streets. You can find all that at saltofthestreets.com, including our own personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. Thank you very much. We'll be back in just a few minutes for part 3, starting off with Ukraine. Woo! Thank you.
Welcome to the Salt of the Streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat.